I'm going to speak to you now about the Kreb cycle, how it's really important in converting fuel to usable calories and why this is important for you. I'll also talk about what causes this cycle to break down and how we can fix it. So from working with people in the kinesiology room for over 10 years, I have methods for testing each part of the Kreb cycle. And generally you will find anyone who is in autoimmune or has chronic fatigue is going to be stuck in a place called pyruvate. So they're not even getting into the Kreb cycle. So a very common scenario is for people to come in who have a lot of health conditions, and you might ask them how their energy is and they say, yeah, it's okay. Yet when you test them and you check that they're on pyruvate, which is where they're stuck, they're on less than 20% of their energy potential. But what that tells me as a practitioner is it's going on for such a long time, they're actually used to it. So now I know we're dealing with something from early childhood, and this is really common. When we're born, we're ideally born with 100% of our energy potential. And then various things can happen in life. So you're born with your energy up here. And then let's say you get a virus or something affects the body, the immune system drops down, it'll come back up, but here's the new normal. And then later on in life, you might get another one and it comes down. And now here's your new normal. And then that's all you know, because if you were just a baby and now you're an adult and you're here, that's all you've ever known. Or another way to look at it, and this is very common with something that's more recent, and this is when a person is completely in chronic fatigue and they literally have nothing left in the tank. So imagine you've got your main batteries, you've got your secondary batteries, and you've got your emergency batteries. So on your main batteries, let's say you go out for a nice 4K run and you come back and you're like, oh, I feel a bit tired. Sit for a minute or two. Then you get what's called your second wind, which is you clicking into your secondary batteries. And then you can go off and you can do more things again, and you still have a reserve. So a person with chronic fatigue is already in reserve batteries, and even they're not running so well. So when you get tired, you must lie down. There's nothing left in the tank. So going for a walk around the local block, you might have to lie down for the whole rest of the day to recover from that, and you may not even recover for a few days. So that's what we're looking at with these, with the Kreb cycle. The most common thing to break down a Kreb cycle is viral loading, viral toxins, issues from viruses that could be there for many, many years. So it doesn't necessarily happen overnight. It's more likely it's happened over years. It's happened over a long period of time. When I think about viruses, I think about, for example, an Excel spreadsheet where you say you're working on a sheet and each of the little boxes has different codes in them. They're like your DNA codons. And you go off to the toilet and a Grinch comes in and starts changing all your codes, and then they go away. So when you come back, everything looks normal. But when you print that out later on, it doesn't make any sense at all. And that's what viruses can do. They alter the codons in our DNA. So we have a perfect blueprint, and that is getting expressed physically through our codons. Where a virus has gone in and has altered the codons over time and over many cell replications, it skews off. It goes off a little bit. And one way you know that this is happening is you have lots and lots and lots of little aches and pains, small twinges and things that are going wrong, but none of them are enough to be a disease in themselves. So this is a sign that the codons have been altered by a virus. And it can be such a long time ago. I have people that have been treating for 60-year-old polio or for scarlet fever, measles, whooping cough. Lots of these really old things can be in the body. And a very common one is Epstein-Barr virus. A lot of people that are in chronic fatigue are going to have Epstein-Barr virus. It might have presented itself as glandular fever, tonsillitis, or some kind of an ongoing illness when you were in the ages of between 10 and 14. That's the most common one. That breaks down certain codons in the body. It certainly breaks down the Kreb cycle. So it might be over 30 years later that you're discovering all these aches and pains and things going wrong in the body, and certainly the energy is not working properly. Okay, the next step down from pyruvate is called acetyl-CoA. So it's an improvement when we move it a step forward for sure. At this level, however, we're still not absorbing our amino acids and our fatty acids, and our body will tend to store them around the midriff area. So there's a program where the body isn't able to use them yet, but is storing them. Now, this isn't particularly helpful for us either, because at this point the food is still not converting to calories, and our body is now burning amino acids, which are the building blocks of the body. It's very important that we get this Krebs cycle open for people, so we're no longer burning our own proteins and are instead getting value from the food. It's my experience that magnesium is the most essential mineral for opening up the Krebs cycle. It is the absolute end all and be all when it gets to getting the Krebs cycle working again, because magnesium helps get oxygen into the cells, and oxygen really is the nutrition that our body needs for a good working order of all of our cells. So magnesium is absolutely vital, but so is removing all viral toxins. My favorite remedy by far for getting this cycle open for people is lemon balm tincture. I find lemon balm is absolutely brilliant. It is very safe to use. It's all across the board for young babies, for elderly, particularly the elderly get on great with it. It is like having a grandmother come and put a nice warm blanket around your inside. So it stops anything getting worse. It gets your immune system perked up a little bit higher, so that it is your own immunity that is able to fight off any toxic loads in the body. There are some other beautiful remedies that work very well also: astragalus, echinacea, and silver. Colloidal silver is available over the counter. My own preference is ionic silver, so that is also available by postal order. And I find silver is superb at stopping any condition in the body from getting worse. It's very protective of the cells, and it stops viral replication, which is very important. There are other reasons that the Krebs cycle breaks down. You can have toxic metal loading, you can have too much chemicals in the body. There can be a lot of fungal toxins, bacteria, things like that. But I feel that the viral loading causes the most disruption on this cycle. So once you get into the Krebs cycle, things do start to change. You do start to feel different. It's quite a lot to get it moving. So I compare it sometimes to pushing a big, massive snowball. And it can be very tough to get that moving. But once you get that rolling at all, it gets easier, your life gets easier, things start working, and that big push is over. So just having this discussion about Krebs cycle and how to open it can be a huge step forward, and taking some remedies to get things moving for you will have massive benefits in the long run. So we'll be stepping, say, from pyruvate, from acetyl-CoA, and then we get into the Krebs cycle. So the first step in the Krebs cycle is called citrate. And this is very exciting when somebody's cycle begins to open for them, because at citrate, this is where you begin to want to help yourself. This is where you begin to enjoy taking care of yourself, where you give yourself more effort. You feel a bit more motivated to help yourself. And that's really, really important. So before that, it's a push, it's hard, it's going against the grain a little bit because you're feeling tired. Once you get into the citrate level, like the first step into the Krebs cycle, you really enjoy looking after yourself, and you have that little bit more energy to do it. And that's a really, really great thing. This definitely helps us to continue on moving forward, because at this point, most likely you've got most of the viral replication stopped, and the body is now beginning to use some more of its own energy. It's using more calories rather than proteins. And then each step will have a different sort of characteristic, which we'll be discussing as we go along. As changes begin within you, you'll be able to observe this for yourself.